Hi there. Welcome to Craft with Kathie. And welcome to Tipsy Tuesday. I'm going to do things a little bit different today. I'm going to actually start with the tip for Tipsy Tuesday, but I am also going to be doing a project using this transfer that is called Happy Spring, and there's a welcome portion, the word Happy Spring, to our home, so you could actually do this as a welcome to our home, like a welcome door sign, and then miscellaneous flowers and leaves and whatever. But I'm going to start with the tip for Tipsy Tuesday is how do you remove chalk paste from your surface. Now, you can use our chalk paste on lots of different things. And some of them, on some surfaces it's reusable, and on some surfaces it is not. And first, before I get started, I guess I'd like to say happy spring to everyone. Yes, it's the first day of spring, even though it's cold as heck here. We got spoiled when it was up in the upper 60s and just into the 70s and stuff, and now that it's back to more normal temperatures, it's like, ooh, this is too cold. So anyway, grab yourself something to drink. I'm drinking my little Arnold Palmer. Get comfy and let's get moving on Tipsy Tuesday and creating this cute little spring sign. I'm coming at you from the suburbs west of Chicago. Drop me a line and let me know where you're viewing from. Now this flip sign actually flips and has two surfaces. And I did the I love you on one side, back around Valentine's Day, and then I have Happy Easter on the other, and I think I did these backwards. Anyway, this happens to be one of our chalkable surfaces where it's actually chalkboard, and you could easily remove this sign from the frame so that you can work on it outside of the frame by just undoing one of the screws. And of course, do I have a screwdriver here? No. Let's see if I can get it out with my fingers. I probably can't. I can't. Anyway, okay, so I will do it with it inside the frame. I apologize for that. So I'm going to remove the chalk paste from the surface. Now this is a chalkboard. You can use our chalk paste on wood, on chalkboard, on dry erase, on metal, on glass, on mirror, on fabric, on just about anything that does not have a deep nap. If you're using it on fabric, I've done it on kind of like a fake velour, and it works fine as long as the nap is short. You could do it on like entryway rugs as long as the nap is somewhat short. If it is a deep or a thick nap, then it's a little bit problem of chalking on it, just like it would be for pasting, because the depth, when the nap shifts, the image is going to be altered. So in order to remove it from a chalkboard, this is all, or glass or metal or mirror, first you spritz it with a little bit of water. And there's a couple different ways that you could actually do this. I'm going to grab a paper towel here. Just going to let this all get wet. And I'm going to show you an easy way to do it, the way I usually do it, what to do in extreme cases. Take your pick. There's a little tool here called a board scraper. It's made of like some kind of plastic or silicone, and it's great for removing the paste off of your surface. You don't have to use it. You could use a paper towel if you want. If you're going to use a paper towel, spritz your surface with water and let it set for a minute or two. I just want to make sure I didn't get my wood wet here. And then you could either use your paper towel or the board scraper. Actually, you could use the board scraper on a dry surface, even if you don't wet it if you want to. But I think it just works a little bit quicker if you wet it first. So this is one way to do it. Or just do it with your paper towel. Now this is there's some highly pigmented paste here, so we're going to get a little bit of ghosting would be my guess. And I'm going to show you another tool in a second. Most times I have to admit I don't use the board scraper. I don't think of it. If I don't have it in my trusty little toolbox or my little case, I don't think of it, and I just go with the paper towel. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to remove an image, but know that if you have the chalk paste on your surface for a long time, or if it's highly pigmented, you might have a little ghosting. And you can see there's a little ghosting here with the lips and a little bit with the wording. And whenever you have ghosting, it's really good to use a board eraser. And all you do with this, obviously I've used this before, is you spritz it with a little bit of water and then go over the surface, oops, and I don't have this quite flat, in a circular motion to remove the ghosting and the excess pigmenting. And usually I cut my little board erasers in smaller pieces. Seems like they lasted a little bit longer. Just rinse the paste out of them when you're done with them, and that's all there really is to do with it. But look at how quick and easy I removed that image from this chalkboard. Now it seems like there's a little bit more pink to me. It might be my lighting, it might not, but I'm going to go over this again with the board eraser just in case there is. And this is wobbling because it is held in place by two screws that lets it rotate, and I don't have anything underneath it. The surface, the center, is a little bit thinner than the frame, just for the design of it, deliberately so that it rotates, and because of that, it's wobbling on my surface. Okay, so there we go. Easy peasy. How easy is it to remove chalk paste from a chalkboard? Only took a few minutes, right? Okay, so I'm going to keep this. I want to make sure that I do it the right way. One side has Happy Easter, and I'm going to put my spring on the opposite side. So I just rotated that. Let me grab a fuzzing towel. Ooh, before I do that, actually, I guess I need to cut my transfer into pieces, right? Look at all these beautiful images. And I'm going to go with Happy Spring and the flowers. So I'm just going across my cut line. So I could cut out the words that I'm going to be using. And I'm not cutting through the backer. It seems like I've got something on that blade there. I'm not cutting through the backer because I want to be able to put these individual pieces back on the backer, with the backer being in one whole sheet. So I could put this back in its little envelope. Boy, did I cut that crooked. Let's try that again. So I could put it back in its little envelope or cellophane sleeve and see everything at once. If I cut the backer into pieces, then some of my smaller pieces might be obscured when I throw them in the envelope. Okay. See if that actually works here. I didn't cut all the way through there. Actually, a coupon cutter works probably the best for this, if you want to do it this way. And I have some kind of spring-like colors here for this project. You can pick any colors you want. If you actually want, if you want the supply list for this project, just comment spring and I will send you the link. I didn't put any color pastes in my link just because I don't know what colors you might like. So you would just need to add your own individual paste packets of paste, or jars of paste that you would need. Okay. So I fuzzed my transfer. I'm going to apply this to my surface. It's still pretty sticky. It's a brand new transfer, obviously. And I'm going to use Sincerely Yours for the wording. I've never used this before, but I wanted something really, really deep and attention-getting. Ooh, my paste seems a little thick. Let me grab a little distilled water. Add a little distilled water to my jar of paste. And I just need a stir stick. Here we go. And stir this up. You always want to, if your paste gets thick, remember it's chalk paste. It is actually made from chalk. So if your paste thickens up, you want to add distilled water, not tap water to it. And the reason you want to add distilled water is you don't want to have any issues with any of the chemicals in your tap water. Oh, I think most of the country probably still has fluoride in their tap water. And you don't want the chemicals in your tap water to interact with the pigments of the paste and possibly change the color. If you do not have distilled water, then what you would want to do is use something like a little color tray, throw a little bit of paste in there, and just put some tap water to thin it down. You don't want to add your tap water to a complete jar because just in case there is any change in the pigments. Okay, I'm stirring this up rather vigorously. I must have left the top off of this. I have a bad habit of doing that. And you want your paste, this looks a little glumpy to me. You want your paste to be like the the consistency of like a Greek yogurt. You want it to be able to hold its shape, but you don't want it to be thick. It should still be soft, but be able to hold a peak. Kind of like egg whites when you're beating them, right? You don't want them stiff. You want it to be able to hold a soft peak. If you accidentally put too much water in your paste when you're thinning it down, just leave the lid off. I do that with my peach here. Leave the lid off. It'll thicken up, and just give it a stir every now and then, and it'll thicken up and to the proper consistency. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Grab my squeegee and let's do the word happy. And I'm going to hold my surface in place as I squeegee the paste across the silkscreen. Our transfers are made out of vinyl, which is the teal portion, and silkscreen, and you can see through the silkscreen to my white surface beneath it. So I want to cover up all the white area with my paste. And a little bit of paste truly goes a long way. I like to pull the squeegee towards me when I'm working, so I'm going to flip this over to do the other side. You do whatever works for you. This was what works for me. And I'm just covering all the silkscreen, trying to make sure I stay on my transfer or my stencil. And then I'm going to come over here and remove the excess. I really put too much paste on there. Like I said, a little goes a long way. So I'm going to smooth over it, remove the excess, remove any lines. And if I make a mistake, all I have to do is use water to remove it and to fix it. Our transfers are reusable 8 to 12 times. So you can make the sign for yourself, make it for a friend, make it as a gift, do whatever you want with it. Use it over and over and over again. And look at, I already dirtied 2 squeegees. How did I do that, right? I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. Okay, now I'm going to lift this transfer up. Always lift from the side, the top or the bottom. Never pull or tug on a corner. There we go. How quick and simple was that? Now I'm going to put that transfer aside because I need to clean it. And now I want to take the word spring. I might need to dry this before I continue. I'm thinking maybe I need to. You know what? I am going to hit that with the dryer just to make sure I don't smudge it. If you don't have a dryer, you could use a hair dryer. I'm going to use our little drying tool here. And it just really uses focused warm air to dry the paste. Let's put it on high. You want to keep the dryer above your surface. You want to watch what you're doing, otherwise you could actually bump it or smear it. It doesn't take too long to dry. Got a little piece of fuzz there. Our paste usually will dry by itself in about 5 minutes or so. Our shimmers take more like about 8 minutes to dry. So take that into account. But the drying tool really speeds it up, and you can see that the color will change a little bit. You see it's a little bit darker where it's still wet. I'm going to set that up. Shut my dryer. Now, before you put a transfer down back on your surface, you want it to come back to normal, to room temperature, and that's a little warm. It doesn't get really hot, but it's just a little warmer than I want it to be. In the meantime, I will fuzz the other transfer that I'm going to use here, the word spring. I want to make sure that's dry before I put the transfer down on it, because I don't want to accidentally smear what I've already done, if that makes any sense. I'm working here with a cracked fingernail. I have this tendency to crack and split them. I just started using something new the other day, and it seems like it has already made my nails a little bit stronger. Not as bendy, if that makes any sense. Oh, let's see. Maybe I should do this in another color. I'm trying to decide what I want to do here. Hang on while I get this off. I've got something stuck to the transfer. Our transfers are adhesive backed, and we fuzz them to make it not quite as sticky. Oh, let's see. Well, we'll see how this looks. I'm going to get spring all the way on here. I don't know if it's going to look funny or not. Well, let's try this. If it doesn't work out, I could just remove it. Okay. Squeegee is what I'm looking for here. Oh goodness. So I'm going to go over what I already pasted just a little bit, as I have the words a little bit on top of each other, but I think that'll be fine. If it doesn't look right, I'll just remove it and change it. I was going to post a poll earlier today asking what surface you thought I should do this on. It was between the flip sign and one of our 16-inch rounds, and what else was I thinking of? Oh, the round with the removable pieces, like the 3 pieces, like the hoop, which is really cool. I haven't done anything with that yet. And I might use this on both of those anyway. I think this is such a pretty transfer. Perfect for spring. I'm sorry, my little dog is snoring here. So if you hear her snoring as she's sleeping, that's what's going on, my background noise. Okay, I'm just smoothing out the paste again, removing any lines, picking up the excess. Put it back in the jar. I almost grabbed that by the corner, didn't I? Okay. I have a little bleed on that I see here on the edge of my G. I'm going to dry it, and then I will fix that. Ooh, and I did a little lifting here. That's okay. We'll cover that up. I'm going to fix this little bleed using my detail tool once it dries. So let me hit that with the dryer and continue on with this. Now I will pour mags up. If you do have a little oops, sometimes you could use like a little cotton swab and just wet it and gently clean it up while it's still wet. Or I find the detail tool, the pointing end of it, is really good to etch off any excess paste that is there from a bleed or whatever. Sometimes if you're overlaying paste that you've already put down, like I did covering up part of the word happy, the best thing that you can do to make sure that it does not lift up is to put a little bit of surface wax on it and gently just buff it and, you know, basically polish the wax over it. And then when you put down your next layer or whatever's going over it, it generally will not lift it up. What happens is when you put paste on, wet paste on top of dry paste, the paste wets that surface and then it pulls up with the transfer. If you work quickly, that doesn't happen all the time, but obviously that happened now, so we'll just have to address it. Let me move this out of the way. And I want to take some of these flowers out. And actually, I'm going to cut these. Instead of using this one great big piece, I'm going to cut these into smaller pieces so that it's a little bit easier for me to get what I want. Sorry if I'm off the table a little bit here. I've got too much paste and stuff on my surface. And if you cut in a more rounded way instead of straight lines, you have less chance of your transfer fraying. Okay, let's see what else I want to grab. I'm going to probably only use part of this. Now I am using a silicone mat for my surface. Which is why I was able to put this down without it sticking. If this was a glass mat, I would not put my transfer down on the glass because it is adhesive backed and you don't want a difficult time lifting it up. Anytime you are applying a transfer to glass, you want to fuzz, fuzz, fuzz like crazy because you do run the risk of it sticking and being difficult to lift up. I'm going to reverse what I was going to do, kind of flip them around and put them in a different order than I was going with this. Let's see if I could use this to actually lift this up so it doesn't stick. I just want part of what looks like tulip buds here. use this peach on the buds, and then I'm going to use some olive shimmer on the stems. And I'm going to do a little paste and peel technique here, lift it up, partially up before I finish using the piece of the transfer, just so that I don't have an issue with it, with the paste drying. Okay, that's it for that. So I'm going to lift this up, paste and then peel it up, leave it up for a moment, set it back down gently. I just want to get the stems in here. So let me grab my olive shimmer, and I'm going to use the detail tool to apply this to the stem. A little bit more paste there, and I think we're fine. Let's take a look at that. Oops, I've got a little bit more lifting. That's easily fixed. That looks pretty good. Let me put that on the side. And again, I'm going to use the peach for the flower. Ooh, that was a lot of paste. Get rid of my excess. Lift this up. Now I smeared that. I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to clean that up with my detail tool when it's dry. But I want to come back here and get my leaves. We have another squeegee. What do I have here? Oops, I guess I need to clean one, don't I? Okay, give me a moment. Today was the beginning of the launch of our milestone collection. It's a small collection, but it is perfect for the milestones in your life. Wedding, anniversary, graduation, birthdays. Perfect. Who says you can't do your own DIY decor for an event? The transfers make it easy and quick, and they are absolutely gorgeous. Need my detail tool here to get into the smaller areas. There we go. What do you think? How quick and easy was that? Now I'm going to clean my transfer and show you how I fix these areas. But in the meantime, I'm going to set this aside to dry. I'm going to probably hit it with the drying tool again. But let me cover up some of my chalk paste. Excuse me. And I just realized I had my... oh my goodness, what color is this? peach cobbler, and I was going to use that for one of the flowers and I didn't. We'll leave that there. Maybe I'll come back to it. And this was my Dear Diary. I was going to do multicolors here, but I think the peachy keen looks nice on there. And I use these little plastic stir sticks to stir up my paste instead of using like a popsicle stick, because our paste is made from chalk and a popsicle stick would cause it to dry out. The wood of the popsicle stick will absorb the water and dry it. Okay, let me hit this with the drying tool a little bit, and then I'll clean up that transfer, and we'll go on from there. And so for Tipsy Tuesday, I'm going to show you how to clean a transfer while you sit at your surface instead of over at the sink. The easiest way to clean your transfer is at the sink. But I'm going to show you an alternative if you don't have a sink available. I don't know, you tell me, do I need another flower here or is it okay? What do you think? Let me move this out of the way, clean things up a little bit. Now, ideally, you would run your transfer over to the sink and wash it under running water. If you have a spray, so much the better. But I don't have a sink available, or I don't have a camera by my sink, so I'm going to do this on my surface, and I am going to actually use my board eraser. Yes, you could use your board eraser to clean your transfers too. Even if you're doing it in the sink, you could use it. You do not want your transfers to sit in water for an extended period of time, though, because you don't want the adhesiveness on the back to diminish too much. You always want to have that adhesive so that it sticks nicely to your surface, and when you're chalking, it doesn't scoot or move or cause any bleeds. I'm going to flip this over, and I've got a little disinfecting wipe. I'm going to come over and take the rest of the chalk paste off of the back. Let me grab a clean one. And if you're unsure if you've got all the paste, if your disinfecting wipe is clean, most likely you've gotten all the paste off. If you're still unsure, just hold it up to the light and make sure that you can see through the silk screen. A lot of the pigments of our paste will alter the color of your transfer. It might stain it, but that's fine. It doesn't hurt it at all. It's just not as pristine as it was before you started. So I've got all the paste off of it. Oops. And then once I have all the paste off, you have to be a little bit more gentle than I'm being there. Then I go back over with my disinfecting wipe in one direction and remove the lint, the lint that I deliberately applied with my fuzzing cloth. And then you want to let it dry, sticky side up. And I'm going to do that with the Happy. Should I get another flower? Let me know what you think. Or am I going to be venturing into over-decoritis there? Remember when I said our transfers won't stick to this surface? It's a great self-healing mat to work on when you're chalking. And you don't have to worry about your transfer sticking to it too strongly like it would if it was a glass mat. Every now and then I use my glass mat, which is sometimes why I have a habit of spraying both sides of my transfer before I put it down on the surface, just in case I forget. Okay, let me clean off the lint from the back of that. Make sure there's no more paste in it. See, there was still some more paste, so let me go back over that and make sure I've got it all cleaned up. Get it out of all those little dots. Now let me switch to a clean side so you could see that I'm no longer lifting up paste. And be a little bit more patient than I'm being with it. Okay. Remove the lint. Set it aside to dry. Now, if you're looking for a way to dry it quicker, you can actually speed dry your transfers on our fuzzing cowl. Put it sticky side up on the, not the terry side, I can't think what the other side's called, the softer side. Fold it over, squeeze out the moisture. Let it finish drying, sticky side up. It'll be dry in a minute or two. So if you need to speed dry it, it's a way to speed dry it. Oh my goodness, it's already getting pretty sticky there. Okay, I just need a place to put this where I've got room to work here. Okay, so I'm going to wax where I'm going to repaste or apply paste so that I don't lift up the existing paste. So I'm going to take my surface wax. There's hardly any in here at all. I've got another can. Let me grab it. There's less in this one than that one. Looks like I have empty cans of paste out here. And I've got a little bit in there. Let me grab a paper towel. Or if I could actually... reach my applicator there. Excuse the arm and the body. Oops. Be careful you don't put anything on your transfers. Do as I say, not as I do. What could I say? And I'm going to take some wax from here. Just got some fuzz on my applicator. And seriously, this is totally dry. Let me find another thing of wax. Okay, of course I don't see one out here. Let me see if I can warm up what's in this little tin. That proper planning protects poor performance. Boy, did I botch this up, right? Okay, let's see if I could wax over this gently. Yeah, that's not really working. Well, I'm gonna wing it and see how this works. But obviously I would wax it if I had a thing of wax out here, which is kind of embarrassing. Okay, I want to fuzz my transfer. I'm going to do the happy first. Realign it. And I really only have to paste where I've lifted. So I really want to do just the P and the Y here. So I want to line this up. I'm going to have to be a little careful because of the dots. Actually, if I'm smart, I won't even do the dots. I'll just do the letters. Grab a little paste here. Go over there. And that. Lift this up. That looks pretty good. Put that on the side and let me fuzz my spring. And here I really just need to do a little bit of the P and the G. I think that's all I have to hit. So that little bit and right there. Squeegee. Got that. And I've got the G. There we go. Now this is distressed deliberately, so it does look a little distressed. That's fine. That's how the transfer actually is. I'm going to clean up this area here in the corner where I had the little bleed. I'm going to, oops, let me clean that off. Stuck my fingers right into the paste. And clean the paste off my detail tool. And I'm going to use the little pointy side to come over here and actually just etch the excess paste from the bleed off. And it'll crumble. I want to make sure that I don't get the area that I don't want to remove. This is right on the edge, so it's a little tedious, but it's fine. And I'll just go over it, scrape off the paste that shouldn't be there. Now if I really botch this up, I could wipe off the whole letter and redo the whole letter if I wanted to. But I think I could get by with just cleaning this up. Need to do a little bit more etching right there. Kind of blow off the excess. And I realized I missed a little bit right here, but I'm going to just take off that paste so that it's not noticeable. And let's see. I have a little bit of the peach here that I must have smeared with my fingers or something. So I'm just doing the same thing, just etching it off there. Let me see if I've got one of those little cotton things. So I could show you another way of doing this. These little cotton swabs are great. Let's get it a little wet. And then I could just go right here and clean it up. I want to make sure I don't run into my purple there though. And I could do the same thing here with the very edge. I'm going to do the paddle side. Might be a little bit easier to get in there. And just thin that out a little bit. How's that for easy and quick? Thank you so much for watching me this evening in this quick little Easter Happy Spring project. If you'd like any information about supplies, just comment spring and I will send you the link. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.